Only a couple months back, I made a video about the Wisps, the infamous power-ups that have appeared in all of the recent Sonic the Hedgehog games. It was just such an interesting topic, and I feel like it deserved its own video. In that video, I alluded to me making a video about Sonic the Hedgehog gimmicks as a whole, and as you can tell, that's what we're doing today. Gimmicks have been a mainstay in the Sonic the Hedgehog series for around 15 years now at this point, and I'm sure some of you guys are asking, what are gimmicks? Well, I'm glad you asked. Gimmicks are these annoying little parasites that dig under the skin of a game. It has its own style, you could do stuff with it, but there's just this stupid add-on that makes the game just 10 times worse. It's like a sidecar to your really fast motorcycle, like you want to have some fun with it and go fast, but your friend just doesn't want to get his own motorcycle and just wants to sit there like a lazy bastard. Like, get your own motorcycle. Anyways, let's move on. As I've stated, these have been around for quite some time at this point, and if you did the math, 15 years ago was around Sonic 06 time. Say what you will about it, you guys know I love that thing to death. It was the last true Sonic game to be its own thing. A standard Sonic the Hedgehog 3D platformer that had no Wisps or Warehog, but we'll get to those later. But how I viewed this is after the game crashed and burned, they believed they couldn't just sell a Sonic game as a Sonic game. They had to have a selling point, and that's what all of these gimmicks are, just a way to sell more games. And they've truly been doing more damage than they have anything else. They're not pushing sales at least anymore. So I feel it's best that we go back to where this all started in 2008 and see how this just crumbled up into a giant ball of a bunch of garbage. The Werehog was an interesting idea, I'd say. Going back to me saying that all these gimmicks are just a giant way to get more sales, I think nothing applies more than this. Brawlers and beat-em-up games were really big around this time, God of War, so you know Sega just wanted to get their greasy little hands on that market. So instead of bringing in a character like Knuckles, who is absolutely perfect for this kind of gameplay style, no, you can't do that because Knuckles in Sonic 06, that bad. They had Sonic turn into a werewolf. Now, granted, the story of Sonic Unleashed is very interesting, and I don't think it's necessarily I mean, yes, this is stupid, what am I saying? But the way they handled it wasn't stupid. Sonic Unleashed has a genuinely good story and writing. It works in the story, and I enjoy it a lot. It develops our characters. The interactions between Sonic and Chip are truly amazing, and seeing some of Sonic's internal conflict is very cool and something we don't see that often. You know, Sonic being an actual character with feelings and emotion who cares about stuff. We haven't really seen that until this year. It's just in the game, it can get a little redundant at points. And I'm not just going to be one of those guys who poops on everything just to get my agenda through, because I'm going to be 100% honest. I enjoy the Werehog. Is it the greatest Sonic the Hedgehog gameplay style ever? No. Is it something I would like to return? No. At least not in this style of Sonic turning into a werewolf. If they want to do Knuckles, I honestly wouldn't mind something in this vein. But just having Sonic turn into a werewolf in the first place was just the strangest idea, and having it take up such a large portion of the game was also a very strange idea. It's very Werehog centric, and the main Sonic the Hedgehog gameplay in that game is so fun. It's entertaining, it's challenging, it was new and it was fresh, and we wanted to play more of that, but there was also this that was just attached to it. It just left a more sour taste in the mouth for the Werehog, unfortunately. It's not the worst thing ever, do not get me wrong. In fact, it's probably one of the least offensive things here. However, it was absolutely not necessary. You could have easily built a story around Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles going on an adventure. You could have had the same exact story without the whole Werehog thing. I think it would have made for a much more interesting time, and I think Sonic fans would have been much more pleased. And also, you wouldn't have the whole thing of every gaming journalist going, "Remember the time Sonic turned into a werewolf?" Yeah, I know, I get sick of that too. It would have benefited the gameplay, story, commercial response to the game, and monetary response to the game. They could have easily called this thing Sonic Adventure 3, and the sales would be through the roof, baby. Sonic Unleashed already sold hotcakes, so you can't blame them too much for what they did. They slapped this thing onto every console they could, and they promoted the heck out of it. Now think about how much more successful it would be if they included Knuckles and called it Sonic Adventure 3. They were at one point gonna call it Sonic Adventure 3, so you know. Point being, the Werehog is not offensively bad, it's just kind of pointless, and it didn't need to be a thing. Surely there could have been some something else that would have made this game much better. Now the following year is an interesting one as well. Sonic and the Black Knight. Sonic and the Black Knight, as we all know, is part of the Storybook series, a duology of Sonic games that was set in a storybook-like universe. This one being Knights of the Round Table, you know, King Arthur, stuff like that. Medieval times, fun stuff. And this has Sonic wielding a sword. Does it really boil my bubbles that Sonic is wielding a sword? No, not at all. Is this a gimmick? Yes, this is 100% a gimmick. Sonic is wielding a sword. It's a new function in the gameplay. But this is a storybook game, an already pre-established series of games that was meant to be set in these types of universes that deal with these classic stories like Aladdin or a medieval story like this. In the time this game was set in, it makes perfect sense that Sonic would wield a sword. Do I like this game and love the way it controls? Not really, not that much. It's nothing I would really go back to. It's not a bad game, but you know, it's motion control, it's Wii. It's not that great. The best part of it is the fact that there is a sword. It's the most fun part of the game. Just being able to slice through stuff and have fun. But unfortunately, there is this whole mechanic of, oh yeah, you have to move the actual character, and moving the character isn't that fun. The controls aren't all that great, but I wouldn't say this hinders the game. It's a spin-off title and the type of game it is. It makes sense for it to have this gimmick. Once again, like the Werehog, it's not anything I necessarily like to see return again, but for what it is, it works. Let's be honest, the only reason I like this game is because Knuckles attempts suicide, and that's just ridiculous.
This place shall be your grave!
5 minutes later.
I have been disgraced! Only death can remove this stain upon my honor!
Give me a break! What's up with all this drama?
What are you, Skip Bayless? If you get that reference, I love you. Going through this trend of every single year having some kind of Sonic the Hedgehog gimmick, the following year was 2010, the release of Sonic Colors. We saw the Wisps, and as I mentioned earlier, I made an entire video on the Wisps. If you'd like to hear more about that in depth, check that one out. But I will touch briefly on them here. I think the Wisps worked perfectly fine in Sonic Colors. For the game that Sonic Colors is, it really helped the game a lot. It worked, it was interesting, it was not the greatest aspect of Sonic Colors, it's just that Sonic Colors was a fun game, but it seems Sega took a lot of the wrong stuff away from this. During Sonic Colors development, they already started work on Sonic Generations. They had to get that thing out for the 20th anniversary. It blows my mind how good that game is despite its extremely short development time, so they had no idea if the Wisps were gonna work or not, or at least how they would be received. But in that game, we were introduced to classic Sonic, and it worked perfectly fine there. You had the boost gameplay, which seemed extremely refined, and to me personally, I think classic Sonic's very entertaining in Generations. The spin dash makes it so much more fun to go through, he's super fast. Kinda feels like the adventure gameplay almost, just, you know, not being able to be in 3D. And these two games, Colors and Generations, did very, very well. Not only financially, but critically. Both scoring the exact same rating on IGN, considered to be the renaissance of Sonic. He's back, they figured out the formula, it's working. After this, I think Sega looked at their gimmicks and thought those are what made Colors and Generations flow so well, and then they transported that into their next two major releases. Lost World had a very heavy emphasis on Wisps. Yeah, they changed up the gameplay style, but instead of honing in on that, they wanted to toss in Wisps and all that stupid garbage. I don't think any of us were a fan of them switching things up after they went 2 for 2 in the new decade. It didn't pay off well for them, and especially being a Wii U exclusive, but that's its own story for another time. The Wisp should not be here. It doesn't make sense in the story, it hinders the gameplay. It was not what made Sonic Colors good, and it wasn't what made Lost World good. Lost World is not that good, so yeah. And then in Sonic Forces, they were so uncertain of what that game was and what to do with it that they just shoved in every single handicap they could. People liked Colors, let's put the Wisps back in. Surely that's the only reason they liked the game. Surely they weren't part of the issue with Lost World, no. It was just the gameplay. Oh, Generations did great for us, let's put in classic Sonic again. Even though Sonic Mania is in the works as we speak and is really good and is only coming out like 3 months before this, surely they can have some more, definitely, even though it plays horribly and it's not fun at all. And we really gotta satisfy these Sonic fans, man, so let's just give them their own custom avatar. They like making those Cold Steels and Tyler the Hedgehog or whatever, and it will play absolutely horribly and it's slippery, it's barely functional, it's not fun at all. Anyways, yeah, and despite not having Tails, Shadow, or Knuckles playable in the main campaign, the game sure does feel overcrowded. It probably doesn't help that the game is so short. 3 gameplay styles and 2.5 of them are just not fun. I can find some enjoyment in modern Sonic, but it's still not that great for the most part. They're so scared about overcrowding these games because that was one of the biggest complaints with 06. Multiple playable characters, no, game overcrowded. And yeah, there are a lot of characters in that game, but it never felt overcrowded. Aside from Shadow and Silver, you play as those other characters only like once in the game. Over here, you have to play as Classic and the Avatar multiple times, and it's not fun. It's kind of funny how they're trying not to crowd these Sonic games and keep them pretty compact, but yet it feels so messy and just makes me want to take a shower afterwards because I feel so dirty. Ugh, I need to wipe myself off. It's like a house. On the outside it looks right, but on the inside there are these termites that are digging around at your house. You have some holes in your walls, but you cover them up with posters so it doesn't look weird, but it does look weird because you have posters of My Little Pony. It's really weird. That's Sonic Forces. Just throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. I think Sega knows that the boost formula is not sustainable. It's not a long-term solution. It was a fun little detour. So, to make up for that, they throw in all this extra BS to make the game better. But it doesn't, it just makes the game worse. I 100% agree with Sega's mentality of getting Sonic right before diving into Tails, before diving into Knuckles in a 3D plane. But the thing is, they're not standing by that statement. They aren't only working on Sonic and trying to perfect him, they're working on all this extra garbage that doesn't need to be here. Sega has all of this precious free time now to work on Sonic games longer to get them right. They could be perfecting Sonic's gameplay and making it truly amazing, but instead of that they spend half this time working on a Werehog, or an Avatar, or a classic Sonic, because they've worked in the past and they need a good game. They need good press because Sonic hasn't been in the best limelight for a majority of the 2010s if we're being honest. Sonic Lost World, while not a horrible game in my opinion, and a lot of Sonic fans' opinion, did not do great in the press. It had very mediocre reviews, and it was considered a giant step down compared to Sonic Generations and Colors. Not to mention, it sold horribly, but that's not 100% their fault. It came out on the Wii U. Sonic Boom came out in the early 2010s. 2014 is early 2010s. That's when Sonic Boom came out and almost killed the franchise. That's not good press. Sonic Forces was not great press. Nobody talked about Team Sonic Racing. They know they need a win, so they're relying on what has worked before, but they know it's not sustainable. So why are they doing this? Because they know what works. They know what they have to do for a long-term solution, but they are scared because it's burned them so hard in the past. They know they need to go back to fully controlled 3D Sonic. Yes, I'm going there. Sonic 06 styled Sonic. Not the 3 different stories in the final story, not a bunch of different characters, but they know Sonic needs to control like that. They need to make levels like that, and they need Sonic to play like that. But they are scared because they screwed up so hard the last time. They know games like that, Adventure 2, Adventure 1, even Heroes to an extent, worked great because you were able to make a bunch of different levels in that style and still keep it fresh and engaging. Was anybody complaining about that type of gameplay getting stale? I don't think so. Did they need to shove in Werehog's, Wisps, Classic Sonic, and an Avatar? I don't think so. It worked because it was well made, perfect for longevity, but now Sega has seen that they are able to make games that are easier to make, cost less money to make, take less time to make, and they can still give you a somewhat similar result in terms of reception and money. But the thing is, it's not the same anymore. There was a 6-year gap in boost games from Generation of Forces. It feels completely different. It's on a Sonic Lost World engine. It just doesn't feel right. Hedgehog Engine 2 isn't what you guys think it is. It's just Sonic Lost World. I'm not gonna say Sonic Team, but Sega has screwed up Sonic so much during the 2010s that Sonic Team was so scared of messing something up again that they just had to fall back on everything that worked before. Sonic Team can make make a good game because they have in the past. They have more time than ever now. The gimmicks need to stop. They're just taking up development time and they're not fun anymore. There's such thing as too much of a good thing. Let classic Sonic live in his own universe with Mania. Let the Wisps just go away now. There's no point anymore in even having them. It just doesn't even make sense in the universe and story. Why do the gimmicks need to stop? Well, Sega already knows, because they've been saying it forever. They need to get Sonic right before anything else.
100,000 miles gone to find